Hey guys, I just wanted to record this really quick because normally I don't like to do this. Not the little intro. I always do little intros. It seems like. Hello. I did not like this creator at all. I like the dude making the essay, but I didn't like Bert. Birdie was very annoying. Times through these, we will skip through them and or do a two-timer because I work 40 hours a week. I just work very awkward. Sometimes it's a little weird. Sometimes it's a little weird. But yeah, I just want to give you guys a warning. Have fun. Bullshiza.
Bear03's ex-roommate is a YouTube animator who has had a tumultuous career on the platform since February of 2018, with the year of 2024 being no different as I will outline in this video. He's known for bangers such as I'm Back.
Fake. These last two YouTubers have 10,000 subscribers.
Okay. Then why are we talking about him?
What? I'm not talking about... Dude, you're pissing me off.
Why are we talking about?
Not that guy.
The art dude.
Not the guy.
You're
I'm
not
talking
gonna
about the
know
artist.
about this fucking depraved art dude at the corner of the fucking internet. The same reason why we talk about Chris Chan, because it's fucking interesting.
Man,
Okay.
bro gave up on him as soon as he heard 10K only.
Yeah, I was like, for one, I didn't even know who she was talking about, because we're watching this dude that we don't
Talk
know.
about
watching
the
about another
art
dude we
person,
don't
the
know.
animator.
Yeah, but that's how you learn about drama and YouTubers. You read and watch videos of people you don't know about. Like, I don't know who the fuck this dude... I don't know any... All these video suggestions that I get from Papa Gut, I don't know any of these motherfuckers besides, like, fucking... all like, the boring shit. Like, Boogie2988 or the Lil Cows or, like, fucking Keemstar or... Like, I'm trying to get some new shit. I'm tired of the fucking same 7 dudes trying to fuck each other. Over and over and over and over again. It's fucking annoying. It's... H3H3, Hassan, Ian. Like, I can go. I'm not even gonna go through the list. They piss me off.
Or my roommate group, a 14-year-old, I need help, which
I do think that
the
Hassan's
two
stuff's
videos
important,
I'll be
though,
discussing
'cause-
in
It's
this
important,
video,
but I'm not
as they
gonna
are
sit there
relevant
through
to
a 5-hour-long video.
I know,
Like,
yeah.
I can't.
Well, we
what
did,
we
but...
care about. That
I
being
did through
outlined how
work, but I'm not gonna make a
Cindy
video
Yeah,
self
for it,
admitted
'cause,
no.
like,
was
what's
not the
point?
only guilty
They're two
party involved in that
man
allegation.
children.
If you're
No, yeah,
interested
there's
in
no
Cindy
point, really.
03's story, well, feel free to go back and watch my video
Plus, we
about
don't
it.
even know
However,
what's
it's
going on
not
in the Middle
necessary
East,
for
really,
this
so-
video, as I will provide context when it's required.
And neither do they.
Anyway,
It
without further
come to
ado,
find
let's take a
out.
look
Yeah,
at yet
come to find out
another
that neither of
example
them
of
truly
what
know what's
unrestricted
going on.
internet
What a
access
surprise.
does to a motherfucker. And the next stepping stone in the Just a Robot saga, the YouTuber and can of worms, 30.
I remember when I was 12 years old and I drew porn depicting pedophilia, and instead of being concerned or wondering if I was okay, everyone got mad at me for it, and it ended up being the first thing that canceled me in the public eye. Good times. You know I was groomed by Kitty Dog, right?
Starts a conversation like that.
Although Birdie themselves is not generally considered an art commentary community creator, or ACC creator for short, his animations appear to be nestled into the same viewer base, subsequently having a multitude of mutual friends.
Then that's like 15.
Yeah, no, it's fake trans. Lock in, bro.
Still sounds young.
You really try and make me get canceled, bro. It sounds young because it's a woman, Fig. A 16-year-old woman. Probably a 20-year-old.
Okay.
But it says 20, 16 plus, and 18 plus. So I don't know
Yeah,
how
I wasn't
old
reading.
they are. They're somewhere around 16, 18, and 20. Which pisses me off even more that I don't know anything about pronouns. He, it. You piss me off. You piss me off. I'm fucking over it already.
City Battle 3, both online and in real life. Well, for those of you who did not watch my last video,
I'm gonna describe it.
Is that what it says?
I'm gonna describe it as it for the rest of the fucking video. How about
Okay,
that?
well,
That's what I'm gonna do.
It's kinda
bit of an
crazy.
issue when it comes to degeneracy.
That's its pronouns.
With a
That's what it
basis
asked
of
for.
deviant
It
art,
asked
which
for that.
is,
Literally.
as the name
He
implies,
is. So
mixed with
you're
a
getting it.
YouTube commentator whose audience
Who left?
primarily consists of
Dozer, you leave again, I'm fucking banning you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
children. You have a very unique powder keg, despite the fact that their audience generally leans on the younger
Deviant
side
art
of
needs to be
things.
shut
It's
down.
not uncommon
Is that
for
still
art
alive?
commentary community creators to
The
make
art
crude
community is barely
depictions
alive.
of darker
Like
or
strings and
straight up
dumb.
immoral topics
Borderlands
like
2
gore,
though,
bestiality, rape,
very-
or self-harm.
very W
Combine
game
these factors with a
pick
Discord
for
community that
gameplay
allows for
background.
13
I'm trying to look at this guy at this
you
angle.
get Cindy Bear
It's kinda
03
funny.
or
I like
more
Already.
a
short.
gripping problem. Well, what about in regards to the topic of this video, Birdie? Well, it appears to me as if they're a victim of the unfortunately common grouping within the ACC, subsequently drawing art at age 12, which, as Birdie established, led to the first of many controversies. This claim was made in the aforementioned video, I'm Back, which is fucking 2 hours long. The video was released on April 15th, 2024, and answered the question of how Birdie and Cinny Bear moved in together, as well as quite a few other questions I don't think anyone asked, but regardless.
So, you're probably a bit confused. Like, hey, why have I been gone so long? Why did I come back? And oh, Birdie trauma. That's a pretty weird thing that I've never talked about before. I'll get into all that juicy stuff in a bit, but first, I'd like to properly introduce myself for the first time. Hi, my name is Jack, or Lucifer. My pronouns are he, it.
Oh, the rage. The rage is building inside of me.
I'm 19. I'm A-raced and gay. Ooh la la.
Oh, fucking just pick a struggle. Just pick a fucking struggle. Jesus Christ.
My favorite colors are red, black, and yellow. I'm a demon kitty. I love rainbows and tacos and cats and randomness. I love seeing...
I want to kill myself. I want to die. 9 tablets of fucking Tide Pods into my stomach, into my bloodstream, in my fucking bloodline right now. Why the fuck are humans like this?
And Decora K and emo, but that's pretty obvious, isn't it? I have evil autism. I love South Park, BoJack Horseman, Moral Oral, Doki.
Oh my god, and she's batshit fucking insane, and she's batshit fucking insane, bro.
I can relate to that evil autism thing.
Simone.
Evil autism.
Remember when you were supposed to be? Remember when you're supposed to?
What
be a
makes it
good
evil?
person?
Oh, you know.
She liked Doki Doki Literature Club, so
No, I don't.
that's enough.
Doki Literature Club, Miracle Musical, Milo Pony, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Milo Pony.
Oh
Woo.
my god, bro, why? This is what I'm talking about, Fig, on like why we as men can't have something a little zesty. This right here is why we can't have something a little zesty.
Zest fest.
And other thingies. I have a kitty named Squirp. So during the making of this video, we got another cat, and I named her Stupid.
Are you beginning to see what I mean by can of worms? Oh, also those cats that he introduced, Squirp and Stupid, well, they will be extraordinarily relevant later, so keep those little fellas in mind. This video was released after a nearly 3-year-long hiatus, which was caused by those aforementioned controversies, with the video being recorded after Birdie had moved in with Cinny Bear. Regardless, he opens the video by advertising his Twitter and warning viewers to be wary of gore.
I think.
Neat.
Anyway, I was already planning on it, bitch.
This shout out is followed by one of the most impressively long-winded trauma dumps I've ever witnessed. Seriously, it is at least 30 minutes long. Fuck, I mean, you could argue that the entire 2-hour-long video is just one long-winded trauma dump, but either way, Birdie prefaces the trauma dump with this.
If you are a member of my family watching this video, including my parents and grandparents, I kindly advise that you stop here.
You should make like a throne.
I do not wish to have you be part of my internet life because you have irreversibly hurt me, and I'm going to be straightforward and honest about the damage that you've done. You will be anonymous and safe from harm in my video. I ask you again, please stop watching. If you wanted to hear about the ways that you've abused me, you would have listened to me a long time ago, or reflected on your own actions. Okay, cool, bye, go away.
Yeah, I think that sets the bar pretty high right off the rip. Before I inject
having
any
to
more
hear
of my
yourself again
personal
and animating
bias,
it.
let's just begin sifting through the mega trauma dump, shall we?
Like
Starting
this.
off with all of Birdie's mental and physical issues, Birdie just kind of sprinkles these in like little Easter eggs throughout his 2-hour-long video, so for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to compile them all here before we get into the rest of it. Firstly, judging by his straw poll, Birdie has autism, ADHD, borderline personality disorder.
Oh my fucking god, bro. Hold up. You know what would make this funnier? Hold up, watch this.
I'm just going to compile them all here before we get into the rest of it. Firstly, judging by his straw poll, Birdie has autism. ADHD, borderline personality disorder, and is on the schizophrenia spectrum. He additionally claims to have psychosis, however, later clarifies this to be referring to the schizophrenia spectrum diagnosis.
I would like to.
There we go. There was some white bitch gotta tell me that she's got a fucking like laundry list of problems with it. This is a mental disorder, not a fucking list. It's a mental disorder, bro, not a car problem, bro. Lock in.
To clarify that I was diagnosed with psychosis in September of 2023, so this is just something that I live with. I mean, I was diagnosed when I was 14 too, but like I was in denial about it for a long time, so like I just got diagnosed again. At the moment, I'm unsure what disorder in particular I have because I had to stop seeing my psychiatrist because I moved to another state, which I'll elaborate on in a little bit. He initially diagnosed me with depression with psychotic features, but as I elaborated on my symptoms, he realized it was something more severe and that I'm most likely schizospec. So at the moment, I just call it psychosis for convenience.
Further in the video, Birdie says that they have depression and chronic anemia, which is actually not chronic anemia, but instead a undiagnosed heart condition. Yes, the health condition morphed mid-fucking video. The next condition Birdie claims having, I don't exactly know how to define based on Birdie's description. Birdie refers to it, or them I guess, as headmates.
I'm gonna be honest with all of you, I don't even know what Carol was. She wasn't an alter because she couldn't take control of my body, and she wasn't a tulpa or imaginary friend because she was not intentionally created. For simplicity, I will be calling her a headmate in this section. Similarly to the psychosis drama, this should have never been drama to begin with because it's weird to make a spectacle of a teen struggling with mental illness, and it absolutely made me worse. I wasn't attempting to like fake DID or anything. That was never my intention if it did come across that way. I don't have any active headmates at the moment, but I do have a history of them. Carol, Marilyn, Susie, Raro, Goofball, Playdate, and even Edgy Jack were all sentient beings with their own thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
You need to get.
What's DID?
You need to get some bitches. You need to get some bitches really bad, really bad, really bad. People like with schizophrenia and all this shit don't have time to sit there and like think of these characters and shit. Like they're sitting there fighting with people fucking
fighting their minds.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Who originated from my brain. That's not what they said, right? I really wish I had a concise conclusion
DID,
or answer for this, but I don't. When Carol first appeared when I was 14, I went all the way to fucking Seattle Children's Hospital to see a psychiatrist, only for him to brush me off for being autistic and tell me that I have a vivid imagination and that it was just the autism.
I have no...
Well...
I think it's the internet.
Well, I mean, when you have autism...
Yeah.
And you're stuck inside with
you
the
grab
internet
on everything, right?
Yeah, well, like, yeah. I mean, that's literally what he fucking said to her.
Interest in discrediting Birdie's claim conditions. Like, there are plenty of better things to point out. That being said, however, I do have to say, Birdie's description makes it sound like an X-Man superpower mutation or imaginary friend.
And why are these doctors scared to say it? Do they not?
In fact,
they don't even think about the internet,
dude. The only professional we spoke to about it described it as autism mixed with an overactive imagination. According to Birdie, they aren't split personalities. It's not dissociative identity disorder. They are people that are sentient that are only in Birdie's head. I'm not tripping, right? Like, other than the sentience part, which I don't even know how to interpret, Birdie's just describing an imaginary friend. I mean, I guess there could be hallucinations, but then they would just be
sentient,
hallucinating
like,
friends, which still sounds like the same concept as imaginary friends,
like Deadpool,
less voluntary.
Yeah, she thinks... She's like...
Anyway. Oh, and also I wrote this big fuck-off paragraph about what I believe to be the final of Birdie's health conditions that I'm yet to mention, or more specifically, chronic fatigue. But the video was already long as shit, so
because it doesn't make sense.
That. Like, you give a shit, you can. I thought it was at least worth addressing because I have seen people question Birdie's chronic fatigue diagnosis. However, in my opinion, there are far more dubious elements of Birdie's story, which I will establish later. First, though, I'm going to speedrun some of the allegations against Birdie from that aforementioned tumultuous career, because I don't exactly feel like litigating shit that happened when this person was a teenager, but I feel like I'd be foolish not to at least mention some of it. Oh, also, there is a hell of a lot more conjecture in this video when in comparison to the rest of my content, and that is because for most of this, we only have one side of the story with next to no evidence. However, I will clearly specify when something I'm saying is a conclusion or opinion based on limited information. Anyway, to begin the speed run, here's Birdie talking about those aforementioned controversies from when he was a child and teenager.
So, I am notoriously known for not being good at interneting. Like emotional outbursts, constant venting, oversharing personal information, things like that. The reason I joined the internet in the first place at 11 years old is because I wasn't loved at home, and I was being abused at school too. I had a warped view of the internet, only being a child, and I believed that all of my viewers would act as friends.
Well, yeah, that explains a lot. As I've already established, there is an admittedly dark likelihood that the root, or at least a factor for Birdie's erratic behavior, shall I say, is some of the stuff that I'm outlining in this segment from Birdie's developmental years. As I'll attempt to outline in this video, the issue is that Birdie uses this mistreatment as a justification for him to do immoral acts to others.
I've decided to come out here and talk about what happened today because the vast majority of the controversy surrounding me is false, and I believe a lot of you are simply misled or confused about the information. My therapist told me about a concept once that really stuck with me. It's called the curse of knowledge bias. She explained to me that although I know that birdie drama consists of lies and exaggerations, and I know that my parents abused me, and I know that my ex-friends are lying about me and trying to publicize personal issues, and I know that I've been taken advantage of by everybody involved in this, nobody else knows, and I'm frustrated because you cannot see what's so obvious to me. Let me be clear, I still do not want anything to do with birdie drama. I would not like this drama to be continuously dragged on going forward.
Yeah, sorry about that, Birdie. Also, did you catch that? I swear they need therapists who specialize in dealing with terminally online freaks, because I swear this is not the first time I've heard of a therapist gassing up their client to post something online because the internet just doesn't know the abuse they've endured. Yeah, I don't think I can hold it.
Yes.
So if this video that I'm talking about is any indication, then Birdie likely wasn't providing the therapist with the most accurate, unbiased retelling of events, as I will display later. But anyway, Birdie ended up elaborating on that first controversy with Kitty Dog.
If you aren't aware of who Kitty Dog is, which would be shocking if you weren't, she's this super...
Bitch, you are a 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel. Fucking Dracula head ass saying, if I don't know about some other blank ass drama YouTube channel, then you must be in a closet. Bro, you live under a anime pillowed rock, bro. Lock in.
Super duper popular animation memer who makes very sexual videos. I'm totally not surprised that this happened. And when I was 11 to 12 years old, she was basically my idol. I made a shit ton of videos about her, and she commented on them asking me to join Discord, and you can see where this is going. Anyways, this shouldn't have been drama in the first place, but Kitty Dog encouraged me to make drawings like those, and that's why they exist. I know a few of you are probably going to say this as some sort of counter-argument, so I'd like to acknowledge it. The age gap wasn't, like, huge. I was 12 and she was 14, but, like, let's not get caught up in the logistics of grooming. I am not misusing the word. I can confidently say that this is what this was. Another thing...
12 and 14 is...
This is over. I don't know, like...
Low-key, I can't... Yeah. 12 and 14
to bring into consideration is that apparently Kitty Dog was also being groomed during this time period, but this still doesn't excuse her behavior. Especially when we consider COCSA to be a trauma response, which stands for child-on-child sexual abuse. And yes, sexual abuse can be accounted for under messaging like Kitty Dog did. I'm aware of the fact people are still going to defend Kitty Dog in this situation, but at least acknowledge the impact this had on me as a kid.
This is annoying to me.
Isn't that just sickening? Yeah,
I'm about to get hateful about it, honestly.
That you end up with some kind of fucked up game of telephone where these minors end up regurgitating fringe adult concepts to each other that they either found online or from someone who realistically should have jail time.
Made up problems.
Likely someone who actually fulfills both those categories, to be honest. Anyway, the other person involved, Kitty Dog, is a YouTube creator with 600k subscribers accrued from her furry animation content. What's especially notable to us, however, is that in February of 2024, so a few months before Birdie released his I'm Back video, Kitty Dog released a document that outlined all of her wrongdoing as a teenager. Kitty Dog seemingly attempted to genuinely apologize for her actions, taking accountability and swearing to improve her behavior. Now, whether she actually followed through with this, I don't know. And it's very possible that I either don't or do end up addressing her in future content. What I do know, however, is that despite being 6 times Birdie's channel size, Kitty Dog is, as far as I'm concerned,
Can you imagine
a
how
hell of
much,
a lot less
like,
controversial
time they've spent on the
with her
internet as
document
an
being received
11-year-old
relatively positively.
to,
There was
like,
a
get
huge
traction
power
on the
dynamic.
internet?
Kitty Dog was aware of the power she had
I've
over me,
spent
being a massive.
around in this
That's
amount of
way too much
on
time.
the internet.
But that's
So I don't know
like
why
being
these people are
active.
so
I'm
fucking
not.
weird.
Were you this active though? Like
Yes.
talking to people all the time
Yes, more than her probably. So I don't know why these people are so fucking weird. I don't get it. I never have, and I don't think I ever will. They're just fucking weird.
Creator that I looked up to, and I was not old enough to consent to these things. I was 12.
Yeah, do you know who else wasn't able to consent, Birdie? Despite being 2 years older, Kitty Dog wasn't able to consent. Additionally, I do not think a 500k subscriber difference, or whatever it was at the time, creates a power dynamic. It's not like Birdie's channel or career was directly tied to Kitty Dog's, and it's not like Kitty Dog was employing Birdie. From what I can tell, the significant difference between how Birdie and Kitty Dog responded to relatively similar allegations is what dictates their broadly differing public reception. Well, that and their pre-established reputations, of course. More specifically, both Birdie and Kitty Dog are victims of grooming. However, Kitty Dog acknowledged this and took fault for her actions in the document. Birdie, in the months after, attempted to piggyback off of Kitty Dog's explanations, applying them to himself, while simultaneously attempting to attach all of the fault to Kitty Dog, who, let me remind you, was a 14-year-old at the time. Both of these people are adults now. They could potentially be excused for their depraved actions as a child, but that does not allow them to continue the behavior or attempt to justify it as an adult, which Kitty Dog has seemingly not done, while Birdie has. It's just an absurd double standard that Birdie is applying, and it's all seemingly with the justification that he was the youngest party involved by 2 years, which in my opinion is not a substantial enough age gap to reasonably apply that double standard. To be clear, by the way, judging by the evidence that Birdie presents, it does seem as if Kitty Dog at minimum encouraged Birdie to draw sexualized art when Birdie was very clearly uncomfortable with the idea, which is fucked. I don't know if I'd necessarily describe it as grooming, but it's definitely bad, okay? My issue is that we're supposed to give Birdie so much leniency due to his various physical and mental conditions or traumatic past. Why does the same standard not apply to a 14-year-old Kitty Dog?
This led to the first time I got into big internet drama, and Kitty Dog completely threw me under the bus when this went down, despite encouraging me to draw art like this prior to it being publicized.
This font literally had the word grooming with haunts, or with hearts inside of the O's.
That's what I was like. They're editing like the word sexual into their like, and it's blurred or whatever. I'm like, why are they doing that?
Actually made fun of me for being harassed while still pretending to be my friend.
What the fuck? Birdie is just acknowledging with a text edit on screen that what he's saying in the audio is fucking delusional, and he didn't think to edit it out. To be specific, in the audio, Birdie is very clearly stating that when allegations against him came out, Kitty Dog threw him under the bus and made fun of him. This, however, as Birdie's text edit acknowledges, is blatantly false because Kitty Dog never even addressed Birdie's allegations. Do you know what's even crazy though? This is far from the most absurd claim that Birdie makes in defense of him drawing art as a child.
I think the drama that resulted from this is pretty funny sometimes because the main argument that renters use is that it was illegal
because they're kids
at 12 years old. I'm sorry, but have you ever met a 12-year-old that hasn't drawn art? If that were illegal, we'd live in some sort of dystopian society where anyone under the age of 18 would be locked up.
What the fuck are you talking about, you deranged?
Because I don't know what they're saying.
For me to draw at 12 years old, the main argument that renters use is that it was illegal for me to draw at 12 years old. I'm sorry, but have you ever met a 12-year-old that hasn't drawn? If that were illegal, we'd live in some sort of dystopian society where anyone under the age of 18 would be locked up.
Have you drawn porn?
What the fuck
under 18?
Are you talking about, you deranged freak? I would be shocked and pretty concerned if I even met a 12-year-old who's drawn in my fucking lifespan. If that doesn't show you how skewed this Birdie fella's perspective of the world is, I don't know what will. He needs to have a, at minimum, 10-year-long
I barely knew what a penis looked like at 13.
That's not even taking into account the relationship that Birdie had with a 13-year-old when he was 16.
I've decided to rewrite this section last minute because the situation I'm about to describe is more morally gray than I remembered it being and requires more nuance on my part in order to explain it. In 2021, I went through my breakup. This breakup alone put me into another psychotic state where I was essentially dissociating 24/7 and became unable to make proper judgment anymore. Exactly 5 days after said breakup, I was asked out by my former friend Draggy, who was 13. I was 16, and it was my responsibility as the older person to turn them down, But because of the mental state I was in, I was unable to make the right decision. They were entirely aware of the mental state I was in. I addressed my worries with us dating, but they insisted that they wanted to date me, so I agreed.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to accept that Birdie got manipulated by a 13-year-old.
They just really wanted me.
While simultaneously claiming that Kitty Dog is a horrible person for taking advantage of it.
Okay.
Back.
Fuck work anyways, it's not like I'm physically or mentally capable enough to uphold a job in the first place. Fuck capitalism, fuck the public school system, fuck ableism.
The first major topic that Birdie addresses in his 2-hour-long video is the supposed
abuse
ableism.
that is that... Are they talking about their autism?
Yeah.
Is that... Can you say that?
Fig.
What?
Have you ever met somebody with severe autism?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're not that.
Yeah.
That's like you can't function without...
It can't fucking say that. Whatever the fuck you want to say it is. Voice of a 12-year-old, he, it pronouns, whatever the fuck it is, can't fucking say that because it isn't fucking autistic. Sorry.
Originally,
it has some fucking mental problems. But it's not fucking autism.
I was gonna mention here how abusive my parents have been to me my whole life, but due to recent events, I've come to find that my whole family
I need to be a victim.
Not just my parents, and I'd like to talk about it. Well, with the exception of my siblings, of course. I'm talking about my grandparents.
Okay, well, what have they actually done to be abusive, though?
My parents are very abusive. I'll give some examples in a little bit, but first let me put this into perspective for you.
Get off the internet.
They are conservative Trump supporters. They are racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic, anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, conspiracy theorists, hardcore Christians. They're literally in a cult, and they have 6 kids, not including me. They have
You're probably a trans cue the doom. Trans doom, autistic doom. Addict-ridden doom. Like, it's just, like, you can do it with everybody, bro. Like, you're just as bad as them, except you're less. I hate it. Oh, it is that. We do have that.
The boom. Dude, why does Boo have the boom emoji?
I don't know. This is crazy.
Emotionally, verbally, sexually, and physically abused me for my whole life, as well as neglecting me. And I can say that my siblings have endured similar treatment.
Well, what the fuck? Why not just open with that? If Birdie's own parents emotionally, physically, or even sexually abused him as a child, would that not be enough to single-handedly classify them as abusive? Why attach a bunch of terms that have more to do with politics or ideology? Sure, I don't even agree with their beliefs, or in having 7 fucking children, but that doesn't necessarily classify them as abusive. Oh, hi, Nugget. But it's not exactly evidence of abusive behavior, and if anything, attempting to classify as such just weakens Birdie's argument. Anyway, Birdie goes on to state this about the alleged emotional abuse.
His parents are together.
One day, my parents literally swarmed me in the basement, so I hid in my room, and they screamed through the door for about an hour or more about how I'm lazy and faking depression to quote-unquote be a victim or whatever.
Oh.
They cut off my internet directly after.
That's what you said. They cut off the internet. There you go.
Trans. Victim complex. Daddy issues.
Words and they refused to bring it.
Satanic. I can't, bro.
Back. This.
Hello.
Oh my God, Gary.
Yo, what's up?
Gary John.
It happened when I was 14 too, except when I was 14 I ended up having a psychotic break that lasted for months, and the Wi-Fi being out was most of the reason for it. So, back then
so they had a temper tantrum over the Wi-Fi being out.
Again, and I had nothing else to
psychotic
live
break
for
or temper
aside from
tantrum.
the internet, so I attempted suicide. I told my parents I needed to go to the hospital because I thought I was bleeding out. when I was actually fine. And they refused to give me medical attention, and they laughed at me and even threatened to call the police because I was quote-unquote threatening them to take me to the hospital. The next day, I heard my mom on the phone gossiping to her friends about how I attempted suicide and how stupid
Parents
I was
that
for
call the
doing
police
it,
on their kids,
and then
they got a
treated my
problem.
dad like a hero for refusing to take me to the hospital.
Beat him.
Oh my god, what the fuck? This is giving me a headache. Remember when I mentioned at the beginning the concept of what unrestricted internet access does to a motherfucker? The entire 2-hour-long video is like this, by the way. There is just so much information to pass through being dumped on you at every turn that I'm gonna have to skip over a bunch of the less important shit, else risk a video the length of the Mr. T Lexify one. What I'm gathering from Birdie's description of the situation is that Birdie's parents were frustrated with the lack of action from Birdie in securing his future. So they turned the internet off after an argument, which subsequently led to Birdie suicide baiting
his whole room
claim
is
that he
green
didn't want to
screen.
re-trigger
No,
his
he just has, like,
psychosis due to lack of
on the
internet
floor.
access. Yeah, sure, if what Birdie is stating is true, it is pretty horrible of his parents to claim that he was just faking his depression as an excuse for his laziness. What are you fucking doing? And they probably should not have screamed at him. But overall, this entire situation is a pretty common dynamic between parents and children. I'm sure you or someone you know has been involved in a similar argument with a parental figure that may have even led to someone's internet being turned off. One thing I'm hoping you can't relate to, though, is the part where someone cuts themselves and begs to go to hospital. At risk of sounding like a jackass, Birdie is very clearly still alive and well making this video, so maybe Birdie's dad was onto something by refusing to take him to the hospital.
I told my parents I needed to go to the hospital because I thought I was bleeding out when I was actually fine.
I mean, it's not like he went and cut Birdie. It is kind of obnoxious to self-inflict harm and then expect someone to take the time out of the day to take you to the hospital. Additionally, I have to wonder how many times Birdie's parents experienced.
Okay, so this part's a pretty big part. Holy shit. Okay.
Online. This is a concept I didn't even understand until recently.
Yeah, I don't know if you figured that out yet, buddy. Let's get back to Birdie's retelling of his life story, shall we?
I found loopholes to get my internet back in 2022 without my...
I skipped probably fucking 14 minutes, and now we're back to finding out how it got its internet back. I'm not even fucking with you.
Parents' knowledge, of course. But with my internet taken away, I quickly began to realize the extent of my parents' abuse, and I realized I needed to get away from them as soon as possible. But I was only 16 and I didn't have any friends IRL, so there was nobody to save me. Eventually, an online friend, who I will not be naming here, got in contact with me and offered me a safe place to stay. The issue with this is he lived all the way in Maryland, and I lived in Washington State, so...
Maryland.
Homeschooled too.
So I would need to prepare to move cross-country.
I'll tell you another Mormon. Top left of the map. Maryland. Trans. Gay. Like all the whole like internet shebang. The whole internet left-leaning package. And to add on top of it, the sprinkles on top of the internet package. The dad and the mom are extremely conservative. This screams Mormon in Utah all over it.
I waited until I turned 18, and I prepared for over a year, all while hiding my plans from my parents.
Not abuse.
I relied on this guy for my own safety, and he began to emotionally abuse me.
Sorry, he probably did have an emotional abusive family.
Yeah, but who doesn't? Like...
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like...
I get that, like... It's hard to... You don't agree with them or whatever, but like... I don't know.
She probably was an abusive asshole. They pissed me off. Fuck you.
Me as well.
Victim complex.
He became my favorite person because guess what? I have borderline personality disorder, which I will talk about more later.
No,
which quickly
that's what they probably do fucking have. This is the only thing that I've fucking stood about this. That's why they have to have every fucking title in the book and all this other shit.
And our unhealthy relationship. As soon as I had plans ready to purchase a plane ticket, he blocked me, leaving me back at square one, stuck in my abusive household with my parents and with no support system at all. He intended to let me stay at his mom's house, and I was under the impression that she knew I would be coming and that she was allowing me to stay there. I learned after the fact that this guy had lied to me and that his mom had no idea about our plans. Like, she just thought that I was coming to visit, not that I was gonna live there.
Although Birdie's retelling of the story does come off as extremely uncharitable, this is an instance where the other party involved, the so-called Maryland dude, has actually come out with his own perspective, which I will address later.
Also, another really weird thing that this guy did is that he kept bribing me with gifts. Like, according to him, he spent either $200 to $400 on gifts for me from, like, Amazon that he planned to give to me when I arrived at his house. And, like, even weirder, I have proof that these gifts were real. He ended up sending, like, 3 of them to me in the mail. And he would hold these gifts over my head constantly to, like, manipulate me. Like, whenever I did something that he didn't like, he would try to control me by being like, dude, I spent, like, $300 on gifts for you, and you're gonna act like this? You're such a bad friend. And, like, he would keep increasing the price every time he, like, used this tactic. Like, it started out as...
him doing it the first time, why wouldn't you just stop talking to him?
Like, I spent $200 on you, and then it went up to, like, $400. So, honestly, I don't know how much he spent on those gifts.
Normal people do
with
that.
That description, this dude does sound pretty wretched. Holding a gift above someone's head is gross. However, what mistreatment from Birdie was he referring to that Birdie conveniently left out of the story? It might explain why he blocked Birdie the moment that Birdie bought a plane ticket. There is no indication that this Maryland dude knew that Birdie would be buying a plane ticket that day. Yeah, I would probably block some delusional abusive freak too if they suddenly decided to enact years-old plans of flying to my house and living there. Also, what the fuck is this guy Keemstar when he was reporting on Pyro's 16, 15, 14-year-old French girl? Why does he keep changing the numbers spent on gifts? With how uncharitably Birdie has been so far while describing these stories, I wouldn't be shocked if it's just because he had actually spent more each time he mentioned the number. After all, there are 3 different gifts sent to Birdie and there are 3 different figures mentioned. By the way, just to be clear, I haven't actually read the Maryland dude's perspective as of writing this part of the video. This is all just my opinion and perspective gathered from what Birdie has supplied us with in terms of information. The only reason I knew that the Maryland dude had come out with his own perspective, which later led to me finding it, is because Birdie put this in their video.
Meanwhile, as I was dealing with all this, the Maryland dude from before started harassing me privately and leaking my artwork and events publicly and claiming I abused him, which led to a resurgence in Birdie drama despite me being on hiatus and also still healing from what this guy did to me.
Oh, and there's a final note on this Maryland dude saga for now, at least until I address his side of the story. Of course, this Birdie fucker had to start using psych terms.
I never asked for any of the gifts. He just decided to love bomb me with them, and I couldn't do anything because holy shit, that's a lot of money to spend on, like, a manipulation tactic. If I'm being honest.
Didn't know how to. Okay. This pisses me off. Where's the next topic on this? Like,
have to take public transportation to these education programs and wherever else every time I needed to go, and it was a 15-minute walk to the bus stop every day.
Wow.
Do I even need to say anything here? The next 5 minutes is Birdie bitching about how putting a disabled person through schooling without one-on-one tutoring is abusive or something, and also makes this goofy-ass claim.
It was the middle of summer, and I didn't have any cool clothes thanks to my parents' neglect.
You did have clothes though, right? No significant damage to them? You know, I'm just checking, because I don't think whether or not the clothes were cool dictates whether or not your parents were neglectful. This is just conjecture, as is a lot of this segment to do with Birdie's family. I wonder why, we only have one side of the story. But it seems more like Birdie's fault that his clothing wasn't cool enough. The clothing Birdie is drawn to demonstrate the supposed outfit of neglect is black shorts, black t-shirt, black headphones, and black wristbands. If this drawing is at all accurate to the clothing that he was supposedly wearing at the time, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that Birdie chose the fucking black clothing, considering it's one of his 3 favorite colors, and the drawing that he has representing current day him is also wearing black. Secondly, take the fucking wristbands off, mate, and while you're at it, the headphones too. The headphones are just gonna trap heat that would be escaping from your head. Thirdly, I don't think I've ever worn fucking shorts in my life, so Birdie is actually ahead of me in this part of the meta. And as far as I'm concerned, the US is nowhere near as humid as New Zealand, so I don't know what the fuck he's complaining about. Anyway, but
I was about to say,
Oh no.
they're in,
My video crashed.
they're in Washington, right?
This ain't even the right video. She was in Washington, yeah.
secondly, take the fucking risk.
I opened the video back up to take your fucking wristbands off.
Wristbands off, mate. And while you're at it, the headphones too. Victim complex claim from the Maryland dude. Also, despite the fact that Birdie alleged the Maryland dude had forced the BPD label onto him, Birdie did actually end up being diagnosed with BPD in 2023 by a psychiatrist, which he even acknowledged
the only one that makes
in
sense.
the same Tumblr post. It seems as if the Maryland dude sure as shit had Birdie figured out in at least this regard. Now, as previously mentioned, the Maryland dude did actually come out with his own perspective on the story, and that was on Twitter with notably substantially more evidence than Birdie. To start off, the Maryland dude, aka Refix, claimed that Birdie was most definitely the one who was at fault. One example of how would be when Refix attempted to distance himself from Birdie due to his increasingly deranged behavior. Birdie threatened to kill himself and sent a photo with cuts in his arms, and proceeded to label Refix as abusive. This is supposedly displayed through this discussion afterwards. Refix additionally clarified that the primary reason he ended up blocking Birdie, preventing Birdie from coming to his house in Maryland, was because Birdie had allegedly threatened to kill Refix behind his back. So yes, Birdie seemingly completely lied about Refix, a person who merely attempted to help Birdie by offering him housing, subsequently labeling him as abusive and driving him to pull out mountains of hair from stress. Anyway, back to Birdie's trauma dump, because he starts talking about grandma now and how she was supposedly abusive.
I texted my grandma one day to ask if I could have some food in her house that I knew nobody was eating, and she got mad at me and told me not to blow up her phone asking for help ever again.
What? You can't just say that and expect me to believe you when you're showing fucking contradictory evidence on screen. Birdie's supposedly abusive grandma is just being extraordinarily sweet in these texts, talking about dropping off supplies.
Get a big box of Cliff Bars. Let me know what time you have.
Guys like food or a blanket. The cognitive dissonance of Birdie describing how horrible his grandma was and how his grandma was blowing up his phone when this is on the screen. It's just fucking absurd to me and does imply that Birdie has provided an extraordinarily biased account of his relationship with his grandma. That's also why I'm so questionable of Birdie's entire trauma dump, because oh, there's some worthless photos of...
That is literally means nothing to me. Is this all just the Maryland dude?
Options weren't fucking starve or get ate by coyotes. They were a house in Oregon or a house in your hometown. Like, what is all this shit about homelessness if it's completely self-inflicted?
Okay, hold on.
There's from autism and BPD and psychosis as well. Like, why aren't you normal, Karen? You guys have no idea how long I've wanted to make that joke. Her name is actually Karen.
Wow, more supposedly abusive family members who are seemingly MI6 when it comes to covering up
Well,
evidence
he's
of
pretty
their
much getting at,
supposed
like,
abuse.
his family's probably
Anyway,
just not
this
abusive at
next
all.
claim in regards
No,
to
I know
Birdie's
that. I
Nana
just
is
wanted to
honestly
hear,
the most bizarro
more
world
stories
thing
from
I
him.
think I've ever witnessed.
Every week, when her husband would threaten to kick me out, I would present options of places for me to stay. I told her I could stay at a motel until my roommate came to pick me up, and she would come up with all sorts of bullshit to prevent me from having a safe place to stay. I would give her options, but she would say weird shit like she could take me to Oregon so I could live at her unfinished beach house despite her being unable to drive.
Unfinished beach house.
Bro. I don't know. Yeah,
So he's
to
rich.
live in. Yeah.
Okay.
She offered to buy a house in my hometown so I could stay there. She told me to
What's happening?
And that's
But they're abusive.
yeah, but that's abusive. Like,
No, dude.
just get an apartment by myself. Like, come on. In this economy, with the disabilities that I have,
Yeah, it's called disability. Get on it.
Bro, this is some bullshit, bro. I got abused for free.
But I don't even understand, like, why the fuck is he saying in this economy as if he's buying the house?
Being unemployed?
I don't know.
It'd be easier to cure cancer by mixing a shampoo potion together. I told her everything I said here about the homeless shelter and that was not an option. I had options on where to stay, but she straight up refused to let me go safely. She forced me to go back to the homeless shelter one day. I didn't have a choice because I had no method of transportation.
Oh, what?
There weren't any public buses in the area. I was literally in the middle of nowhere, by the way. My options were going back to the shelter or being left to the streets of this nowhere neighborhood and either starving to death or getting killed by coyotes.
I would give
Yeah, well, alright, I'm skipping through that part.
My roommate to come pick me up on November 4th. Due to this information, the owner rejected me and told me I couldn't go back to the shelter.
Why did Birdie tell the shelter owner that he had accommodation with Cinny Bear when he just didn't because Cinny Bear was across the country? Did he even clarify that, or was it just like, nah, G, I got somewhere to stay, don't worry about it, bro? Regardless, it's finally time for the degenerates to unite, so I'll just let Birdie explain that for you.
I couldn't stay at my Nana's house for obvious reasons, so I had to go back to my parents' house. I'm not even kidding.
Nana.
I stayed there for a little less than a week until my roommate was able to drive from Missouri to Washington to pick me up. For those curious, my roommate is CinnyBear03, another animation memer, furry, previous Sans fangirl. What are the chances?
furry.
As of writing this, we've been living together for almost 2 months. We've known each other through the
Wow.
internet since we were kids, and we used to watch each other's videos on a regular basis, so it is incredibly surreal knowing that we ended up living together. But like, good surreal. I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. I know for sure I would have been homeless on the streets. It's hard to express how grateful I am to have this opportunity and to have a friend like this in general, because I've never experienced this kind of love and care and compassion until now. But I am incredibly grateful to have a chance at life, and it's all because of Cinny. Everyone in her life was telling her not to come get me, but she went out of her way to save me regardless. We had a nice road trip. We were in the car for about 2 days. We snuggled up under some blankets and watched YouTube videos, ate
They fucked. They fucked.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I don't know why you gotta
And
say
they
it like
were
that.
roommates
Yeah.
ass story over here.
Yeah, and they were roommates. Like, they snuggled? Okay.
snacks, listened to music, talked about things, and took naps on each other. We were homeless
Okay.
for a few days.
Let's get a little gay.
It was very gay from the start, to be honest with you.
Okay. Apps on. Okay.
Like, let's just get to the fucking friend.
Happiness will last forever.
I've
So,
been
like,
an
as a
irresponsible
homie,
content
just ate my pussy.
creator,
She
and
just
I've
sucked
been
my dick
acting
as a
inappropriately
friend,
towards
like-
my fans. This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've groomed a minor. I became friends with a 14-year-old after I made a mental note to myself to not become friends with minors again.
Yeah, so as established, I already have a video covering the CinnyBear03 allegations, but if you haven't seen it and need some context, let's just say it's a pretty open and shut case. Essentially, CinnyBear was exposed for sending art that depicted gore, fetish content, and rape to minors, and ended up admitting to it in a video that was later taken down. Speaking of taking down videos,
Holy
2 peas in a pod.
fuck, literally.
2 peas in a pod.
Fucking literally.
while I was working on this video, CinnyBear privated her entire catalog, which resulted in one of the largest viewership count decreases I've ever seen on YouTube. But anyway, there were notably 2 Google documents that outlined allegations against CinnyBear that were released in September of 2024. Birdie releases video, My Roommate Groomed a 14-year-old, I Need Help, the same day that the second document written by Eno was released, or more specifically, September 15th. The video has a bit of an entertaining beginning, I cannot lie.
Okay, I have to be kind of quiet because Cinny is in the other room because she called in sick from work today. But I Let me pull up my script.
This motherfucker is making his expose on Cindy Bear while she is in the next room. I cannot help but find that fucking hilarious. Could he not wait until tomorrow or the day after or what? I mean, he calls it an emergency to make the video, but I do not understand why you would rush something like this. The internet would not have noticed if Birdie had released his video a day or two later, but whatever, it's a minor point. Birdie goes on to provide some context of how they encountered the allegation and additionally clarifies that they condemn Cindy Bear and don't blindly support her just because they live together.
Is this not another nothing burger? Like, Cindy Bear's a fucking disgusting bitch. Alright.
They're all gross.
Yeah, they're all gross.
On the internet. And nothing happens in real life.
My
They're just
friendship
dramatic.
with Cindy was all.
This entire thing is the expose of her in the next room over.
To cover or something.
Like,
The next
Even
notable tweets are from
animated
about
it.
10 days later on the 29th of September.
psychotic. They're
Birdie had a
psychotic.
bit of
Sorry.
a spike in activity this day.
Misgendering is fucking with me the same way that like when people speak a different language and I'm sitting here trying to fucking translate it and I can't translate it because I don't speak fucking Spanish. It pisses me off when I hear a 17-year-old high school girl talking about BPD blah 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 and then their pronouns are he it and I'm like, why the fuck?
Wouldn't you like to know?
You're confusing the fuck out of me right now, and I'm not smart enough to go through all of this shit. All right, fucking what? I don't even Birdie. I'm not fucking smart enough to understand all of these fucking labels you've put on yourself. All right.
Releasing a metric shitload of tweets, including a 6-tweet thread. The first one states that Birdie had to put his commissioned artwork he was doing for people to raise money on hold because his Cash App and PayPal had begun declining. This was followed about 9 hours later by Birdie claiming that Cindy Bear had his password. Singular, I may note, and had used it to break into his Discord to screenshot logs of Birdie talking about Cindy Bear. The damage had already supposedly been done though, as Birdie had to change his password to his bank account and email. It does seem to me as if he had the same password for all of his accounts, which is a mistake I'm sure some of you watching are guilty of and should probably fix. Shortly after this video, of course. Or not, I don't care. Either way, about an hour or two later, Birdie starts the 6-tweet thread stating that he had the realization he had left his old PC at Cindy Bear's place. So does that mean Cindy Bear didn't have his one password and just turned on his computer instead? Also, how the fuck is Birdie this terminally online but still managed to leave his whole ass PC logged in with all his personal details and accounts available at the place of the person he's, well, backstabbing, for lack of a better word? This is some Oxy Monster Rick Shifter type shit, a fucking level 1 OPSEC type beat. Either way, that isn't even the most insane claim that Birdie lobbies against Cindy Bear in his 6-tweet thread. He also tried to claim that Cindy Bear wants to kill him. I suppose that's the danger that Birdie was referring to preventing the second video from being made. His evidence for this are these oddly cropped screenshots of text that Cindy Bear had sent to a mutual friend of Cindy Bear and Birdie. Within, Cindy states that she wants Birdie to die because of how unfair his treatment of her has been, as well as stating that she wanted to kill Birdie. Both of these have no context as to the conversation preceding or following the statements. However, my basic intuition tells me that Cindy is not genuinely threatening to murder Birdie. It's more just a figure of speech to express her frustration with Birdie turning his back on her due to being exposed. There was also this long-ass lunacy-filled text in which Cindy Bear was talking about how she acquired weaponry because she had the belief that someone was in her apartment attempting to kill her. I don't know, delusional shit as per with these two, I guess. The weapons she specified were a knife, pepper spray, crowbar, and she was intending on getting a firearm down the line as well. Birdie was framing it as if these items were supposed to be a part of Cindy Bear's Hitman toolset that she was going to use to take Birdie out. This was followed by Birdie presenting a story about one of the last times they hung out together, assumedly in an attempt to display that Cindy Bear was unstable and capable of snapping and killing him at any moment. Either way, Birdie states the last time Cindy Bear was driving them home from dinner, she said, "What if I crashed and killed us both?" To which Birdie responded, "That wouldn't be ideal."
Well, they're just
Cindy Bear
hanging
supposedly
out,
then
going to dinner
replied,
together.
"But it would be," which apparently led into a conversation in which Birdie tried talking Cindy Bear out of crashing and killing them both. Sometime later in the same drive home, Cindy Bear supposedly stated, "I want to do the thing that BoJack Horseman did, where he lets go of the steering wheel and drives at 100 miles per hour." Now, Birdie does clarify that he took this as a joke. However, still attempts to use it to display how unstable Cindy Bear was. Unfortunately for Birdie though, there is no evidence for this drive home conversation, let alone the BoJack BoJack Horseman part, and it's no secret that Birdie is fucking obsessed with that show.
I love South Park, BoJack Horseman.
Kind of ironic because I think he misses just about every lesson that show attempted to tell, but regardless.
Literally.
As much as I could totally see Cinebear being deranged and actually stating this, I could just as easily see Birdie fabricating this part of the story in an attempt to dramatize or exaggerate the claim that Cine was an unhinged mob hitman who was going to beat him to death with a crowbar. Anyway, the next relevant tweets are from about 5 days later on October 4th, when Birdie expanded upon the hacking situation. Birdie had managed to get a key to Cine's place and, well, just wandered in, I guess, because he claimed not only had Cinebear hooked up Birdie's PC to her own, but Birdie had also left his laptop behind, which was hidden in a drawer, as well as his USB flash drive, which was completely hidden. Yeah, so assuming this is true, that's arguably the crime of hacking being committed by Cinebear, and it's most definitely a breach of Birdie's privacy. Just because the computers were left in her property does not mean that Cine can just go sifting through the contents of the hard drive. Regardless, the final notable tweet is from about a month later on November 9th, where Birdie claimed that he was leaving the internet for a while due to all the drama.
I'm not gonna lie.
What drama, you may be wondering?
Have a condition of some kind that affects his day-to-day life, but I just don't know that.
Important enough for Cinebear to break her hiatus and respond to, because she ended up releasing her final video, at least as of the moment, on YouTube.
Jack is claiming that I have possession of Squirp, that I successfully took her from him, but I don't have her. I have no idea where my cat is, and I don't know if he's even aware of where she is. Jack took her from my apartment when he left, and left her at a friend's house, and I've been fighting by way of the legal system to try and bring her home. It's been a long, drawn-out process. He states I have her, but I haven't received her. I have no idea where she is, and that's why I'm making this video. My cat is not safe in his care. If Jack cannot handle himself, then I don't believe he can properly take care of an animal. I have on multiple occasions come home from work with all the lights being off in the apartment, and the cat's not having any food or water or attention, because Jack spent all day in bed and never got up to take care of them. Jack is seemingly physically disabled, possibly from a heart condition. The reason I say seemingly is because Jack doesn't have any form of diagnosis, and I don't know if I should definitively state that he has a condition. He very likely does have a condition of some kind that affects his day-to-day life, but I just don't know that for certain. I don't think him having a disability voids him of the responsibility he chose when he begged me to adopt Squirp. I don't know if Jack knows where the cat is. If he doesn't know where Squirp is, then he needs to fucking question his friends, because that means they're hiding the cat from him. And if he does know, then he's actively lying to his audience about where my cat is, by painting a picture of me as a terrible cat abuser who stole Squirp from him. I'm really fucking concerned because I keep getting messages from a shelter saying that Squirp was found, and when I checked in with the shelter, they weren't holding her anymore. Where the fuck is my cat? I have been going through hell trying to get her back. I went to police, animal control, the city prosecutor. Izzy, the friend I believe to be holding the cat, was sent a legal notice to return my cat, as well as the many items that Jack stole from me when he left, and when he later entered my apartment after I changed the locks.
So Birdie is the real cat thief then?
Yeah, Birdie.
This is honestly fucking disgusting. I mean, none of these freaks should be looking after cats, but especially not Birdie, the guy who can barely feed himself a fucking granola bar. Don't get me wrong, Cinebear should not be looking after them either, especially after statements like this.
Jack says he came into my apartment to visit Stupid, which was while I was at work, and he did this without my permission or my knowledge. He says I'm not taking care of her because when he came over, my apartment was dirty and the floor was covered in litter, and Stupid's nails weren't clipped. And I'm so fucking annoyed because as soon as I came home, the same day he came over, hours after he left, I came home and I was on my hands and knees scrubbing the floor. I swept, I mopped, and I scrubbed the floor to lift up the caked-on litter and cat food. I made that floor sparkle.
I have no idea how it even gets to the point where there is cat litter caked on the floor, but at least you can fucking feed them, I guess. Regardless, it seems as if we don't have to worry about either of them being a...
So they're both horrible to these cats.
Yeah.
Why are you fighting me so hard on this?
Because
you literally, I gave you a letter.
Jack. This cat is for Jack, Cynthia.
Give me my cat.
Well, it's my cat now.
What do you mean it's your cat now?
You can figure that out. But
figure
Cynthia,
that out. Okay.
You bought this cat for Jack. You did. You bought this cat for Jack.
Yeah, back when I thought, you know, do you want to know how much he did for this cat?
A lot.
Cuddled with it, like I'm sure that's the most he really did. Cleaned the litter boxes when I asked him to, like only when I asked him to. You know how?
You did admit that you bought this cat for Jack.
Yeah, sure. For Jack, it's still my cat.
Cynthia, why are you even here?
I would like to retrieve my cat.
No.
I don't trust you.
No.
I do not trust you with this cat.
Go.
I want my cat.
Cynthia, go.
I literally gave you like a court order.
Okay, and go.
Huh?
Or I call the cops.
I
We'll
No.
call the cops, Cynthia.
really cannot believe you.
Okay, I'll call 911 then. Go. Get. Go.
Fuck you. Fuck you. God.
Go. Just go. Just
I
go.
gotta
Fuck
call
you.
the cops.
And thank you.
You have until the 25th.
What?
You have until the 25th before, and I will fucking.
Jack.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Done.
It is my cat.
Bro, holy, imagine getting fucking debate broed over the custody of your own cat. I mean, disregarding the fact that she fucking paid for it, it's pretty clear that Cindy was the primary caretaker for the cat for the duration of Birdie's stay at her house. And I mean, it's not as if there's a lack of trying to get the cat repossessed. I mean, she went through legal processes and even rolled up to Izzy's house. My only concern is in regards to the cleanliness. However, Cindy has already stated that that is something that she is actively
legal
improving.
stuff you can do
So yeah,
to do
overall,
the
that. Worst part
what
of
is-
this cat allegation is Birdie. What
That's
a
not real.
fucking shocker. Genuinely,
There's
what the
probably
fuck was this guy
evidence
thinking? Oh, I'm gonna do a
Birdie
Navy SEAL
has
hostage rescue to
cat,
relieve Cindy
so
Bear of
there is
possession of
legal.
Squirp, and then I'm going to
If they don't
I don't
get the
know,
cat back.
give it to my friend, I
evidence
guess.
that
I know
it's at
I
the
can't
house,
look
the cops
after
go
it.
in there,
Also,
take the
Cindy
cat,
barely
give it
mentions
back.
it, but in one of the texts from Izzy, it appears as if she just admits to stealing a flash
But then it's
drive
like he
monitor
said, she
and
said
jewelry.
who
This
the
implies to me
cat
that when
actually is.
No, because
And they don't know.
Cindy adopted it. You not remember? They said that she adopted
Oh
it.
yeah.
Birdie and
So
Izzy
if
went
the
to Cindy's
papers are in
house to
her
go
name, that's why
repossess
she already
Squirp,
she already has a court
I
order.
bet she don't have it though.
She already has the court order. Like the only thing that needs to happen is she doesn't follow it, and then fucking whatever the fuck their name is going into prison or jail or not. What you know what I mean? The cat's actually like it's already in the legal system.
additionally stole a bunch of possessions from
Big
her,
body.
which, yeah, that implies to me that Izzy is fucked in the head, and it's not just because she's friends with Birdie. If the cat's well-being was genuinely of concern to these freaks, why are they only attempting to save Squirp after their big falling out? It just seems like an attempt to weaponize a problem they could give less of a shit about in order to drive the public narrative against Cindy Bear. I mean, to be honest, out of all three of these freaks, that being Cindy Bear, Birdie, and Izzy, I think Cindy Bear honestly has the most right to the custody of that cat. By the way, I only realized while finalizing this video, but you know that person who temporarily housed Birdie after he moved out of Cindy's place, Queen? Well, that is Izzy. She's posted so many tweets flexing Squirp that I can't help but find it honestly vile. I mean, the cat is in a fucking banner like it's some sort of trophy for fuck's sake. Additionally, as explained in this fucking deranged wall of text written by Izzy, she is no longer friends with Birdie and Cindy and has also renamed Squirp to Latte, which, holy fuck this person. They are wretched. There is not one sane person involved in this fucking drama.
I began to get popular online at 12, but I received negative attention instead of the comfort and positivity that I wanted, and it broke me. I was trapped between worlds. I couldn't stay on the internet because it was killing me, but I also couldn't leave the internet because my home life was killing me.
I think right there is the perfect spot to leave
Well.
the video. Lucky.
So, I chose escapism, despite how much it was hurting me.
If you were to take Birdie and his words at face value, like the large majority of his audience at least originally did, well then you would believe that he has had one of the most unfair, hardship-filled lives of being perpetually abused by every single person he knows except for his siblings.
And
It
parents.
seems to me, though, that the one consistent factor in all those stories is Birdie himself.
Literally.
Others. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. The next video in the art commentary community saga can finally address what this and the Cinebear03 video have been building up to. The YouTuber Just a Robot. Like or dislike the video depending on how you felt the
Wait
video had
a
been building
minute.
up to. The YouTuber Just a Robot.
I know that guy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I do. I know this YouTuber.
This and the Cinebear03 video have been building up to. The YouTuber Just a Robot.
Yeah, I
Like
know
or
this
dislike
guy.
the video.
I don't know nobody.
I know you don't. You fucking boomer.
I don't know nobody.
I already liked and subscribed to this dude, even though I skipped through his video. I liked it. I liked his video a lot. I don't like that. I don't like that person though.